Aloha and good evening, everyone. And on this pleasant Friday night from Highland, Utah, we welcome you to KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school football. This is the UHSAA playoffs on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Mountain America Credit Union, a special presentation of Lone Peak football presented by Skin Science Institute. And tonight, the defending champion Lone Peak Knights open defense of their 6A title as they face off against the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Alongside my broadcast partner, Brett Hammer, I'm Alexander Timlov. Good to be with you all again. Alrighty, Hammer, turn to you. First thing I say is wipe everything clean. Everyone starts over 0-0, and that especially includes the Lone Peak Knights.
Anything can happen on a Friday night. Anything goes. Both these teams have played great football. Both these teams have played not super pretty football the entire season. So tonight, you're right, 0-0. Winner stays home. Loser goes home. Anything can happen tonight.
Copper Hills won the coin toss. They elected to defer their option to receive till the second half. They will look to join the Bingham Miners, who repeated as state champions in 2016 and 17, albeit, of course, 2017 was the inaugural year of 6A football. And, of course, Corner Canyon repeated in 2019 and 2020. Hammer and I will hit the Heidemann and Associates keys to the game later on in the broadcast. But for now, we invite you to sit back in and take it all in right now, folks.
First round of the playoffs, and it's win or go home. Knights versus Grizzlies. It's time for the kickoff.
The defending champs ready to receive the kickoff. Settle back in and watch, because away we go. It's a short pooch kick that's taken by one of the upmen, trying to avoid the dangerous Cole Christensen. And out of bounds he goes at about the 38-yard line. We'll have to apologize, folks. Our camera is going directly into the sun here at LP Field. Kyle West officially is the man on the return, and Hammer, for the first time, we get to see the Lone Peak offense led by Caden Hodson, who, for lack of a better term, has been consistently inconsistent this season.
Caden's a great athlete. Caden's actually a baseball pitcher, and one of the things you'll notice about pitchers is they love to try and make any throw on the field, feet set or not, and that is Caden. Caden's got a great arm, but sometimes it gets him into trouble when he tries to be too much of an athlete, so we'll have to see how that goes tonight.
Cole Christensen lines up in the single setback in the pistol. Hudson from that pistol, hands off to Christensen, goes right side, over the right side, the 45. He gets close to about the 48-yard line, call it, and they are going to take that to a first down for the Knights. That's Easton Anderson, who was on the carry, moving the sticks for the Knights.
The first play of the game will often tell you a lot about the entire game, and when you can get in a rhythm, it makes everything run smooth, and a first down on the first play of the game is a way to go.
Anderson again lines up, double wide receiver to the near side, H-back in the formation. Hodson again from the pistol on 1st and 10 from the 48, hands again to Anderson, goes left side, submarines through, and this time he goes nowhere. Brought down by a whole host of Grizzlies right there.
Great stop by Copper Hills.
Jaden Rea is the man who is credited with the stop. Remind you, the game clock bug on your screen is the unofficial time here inside LP Field. So they give Anderson about 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 now from midfield even. Again from the pistol. This time, double wide receiver to the left. No H-back in the formation, and Hodson to throw for the first time. Throws the deep post pattern into double coverage, and it's broken up. Incomplete. Covering on the play, Zach Nope. Very appropriate name for a defensive back.
Very true. No fly zone in the Copper Hills secondary, but you can see Lone Peak's trying to open it up and say you are not going to put us in predictable play calling situations, because they're going to try and take the top off the defense to spread it all out.
Crew McChesney was the intended receiver, the BYU commit. So that makes it 3rd and 8 from midfield here for the Lone Peak Knights. Hodson from the gun, play action, RP over the middle, throws, that's complete, and getting the first down out to the 40, and past the 40 to the 38-yard line. That's Cole Christensen who made the catch, and that'll move the sticks.
Yeah, you said it. Cole Christensen's a great receiver, and he's also a safety valve for Caden Hodson, so you're going to see him make a lot of catches tonight.
Dominic Leffler, Damon Soroy, the first contact to him for Copper Hills on the play. So that's 1st and 10 now from the 38. Again from the pistol, Hodson. Again from the pistol, Hodson. Go on that play.
That was a great...
Hodson now from the shotgun. Triple wide receiver lines up to the right. Handoff, or rather it's a fake play action throw. That's complete. Not for much yardage, though. Pass was caught by number 10, Trey Robinson, who was lined up as the right side formation. And it'll bring up another 3rd down here for the Knights.
So one of the things Copper Hills is going to try and do tonight is to make Caden uncomfortable, because he does throw well because he has that baseball arm, but he also gets himself into trouble by throwing picks when he gets nervous. And you saw right before that play, Holden Salvador was about to come off the edge on that play action.
Probably have 2 plays to pick up 4 yards here for the Knights. Again, in the backfield is Anderson. He gets the handoff, and he's going to get stoned at the line of scrimmage. And so that'll bring a 4th down. And Jaden Rea with the stop. And so what do you do here, Hammer?
You obviously have to go for it. The question is, how deep are you going to go? Because you know these guys are probably going to be playing to the sticks. If you're Lone Peak and you've shown the ability to go deep all season long, you might be able to throw this defense off by going past the sticks.
So 4th and 5 from the 33. Hodson drops back to pass. 5-man rush. They bring extra, and they throw up the sideline into coverage. And again, it's broken up. No flags down in that corner of the end zone. And it's a turnover on downs, and a great stop by Copper Hills.
Once again, Zach Nope is saying this is a no-fly zone. They did try and go deep. This Copper Hills secondary was ready for that fade route.
So now here comes the Grizzlies, and they have a very potent ground attack. They rolled up over 200 yards last week against the West Jordan Jaguars, and Nate Kitchen is the one who is the mastermind behind this offense, I guess, if you can say that. Central cog in it. He'll line up in the shotgun, power formation. And now they'll shift over to the right. And we have a flag. And the hard count immediately throws off the Knights there.
Yeah, anytime you have any movement on offense, as a defense, you're looking to jump that snap count so that you can get to the quarterback or the running back to the ball as fast as you possibly can. And that shift, oftentimes, you get really twitchy as a D lineman. It can make you jump.
Luke Smith is the one who gets called for the offsides, and so that'll move up 5 yards to the 43. So Copper Hills now will take it 1st and 5 now at the 38. And again, Nate Kitchen will go into the shotgun in that power formation. Lines up with an H-back in front of him. Almost looks like the Kahuku running formation of days gone by as he takes the direct snap and he goes nowhere. Swallowed up by a whole host of black shirts. Sid lost 1 on the play, 2nd and 6. This is a Lone Peak defense that has had trouble stopping the run at times this season. They gave up almost 300 yards, over 300 yards as a team rushing back on the season opener, August 12th, against the Copper Hills, against the Timpview Thunderbirds, as we have a player sent to the sideline here because his knees aren't covered. It's the new emphasis they're putting on this year. Players have to have their knees covered at all times on offense and defense. Kitchen now from the gun, going to go quarterback sweep left side. He goes nowhere. Swallowed up in the backfield. Immediately hit by Seth Dahl, the senior, and that'll bring up 3rd and long.
Yeah, the tough part when you run the ball as much as Copper Hills does, and they run it a lot, Nate Kitchen has more carries on offense than either of the quarterbacks have pass attempts combined. And the unfortunate part is when you get into these 3rd and long situations and you don't show the ability to throw the football, you get into really predictable play calling, which makes calling defense really easy for Lone Peak.
3rd down and 8 now, long 8 from the 35. close to where the Grizzlies started with the football off the turnover on downs. And it's a fly sweep, and it's going to be a reverse pass, and it's caught for a first down. So empty the playbook, why don't you, as Branson Thatcher makes the catch, and that's enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, look, sometimes I'm wrong, but that was a great play call by Copper Hills to switch it up on everybody. Switch up the predictable play calling of running it up the middle or to the outside, fake a little pass there.
What are we supposed to call that one? It wasn't run out of the Philly special formation directly, so we can't really say it was, well, we'll have to come up with that sooner or later. Here's another direct snap, and this time they were ready for that one, Copper Hills. Running back Peyton Karen swallowed up in the backfield again. Actually, it was Kenny Banza, the ball carrier. Luke Smith there to make the stop.
Yeah, Luke Smith, he's keying on that running back the entire time because he's really not too afraid of this Copper Hills offense throwing the football.
Again, Kitchen goes into the gun. 2nd and 11 now from the 47. Again, that power running formation, and he takes it left side. He'll get about 5 yards, and a penalty flag goes down. And it looks like it's going back. But this might be Hammer, one of the times of the night where if it's a holding penalty, because Copper Hills is so predictable in running the football, you may want to not take some of those penalties tonight.
No, and look, 3 yards, 4 yards a carry are awesome if it's just consistently that. But the issue is when you get into these 2nd and 20s, these 3rd and longs, these 2nd and longs, those 3-4 yard chip gains aren't going to get you to that first down marker where you need to go if you want to beat Lone Peak.
2nd down officially 19 now from the 37. Again, we remind you our camera's going directly into the sun, so apologies in advance if we have a bit of trouble identifying the numbers. But at the very least, you can see the jerseys and the numbers in the sun here at LP Field. Here's a direct snap handoff. Kitchen goes up the gut, got about maybe 4. And it'll bring a 3rd down and 16 here for the Grizzlies.
You're going to see this Lone Peak defense really has not been convinced that they needed to sell out any way to stop the pass. You're going to see almost 5 linebackers lined up in line on that 2nd level. And if Copper Hills is going to have to switch up what they're doing running the football, because this first drive just is not working, especially when you get into these 3rd and long situations.
3rd down and a mile now from the 41. So the last time Copper Hills faced a 3rd and a mile, they went pass. And now they don't even get the playoff, and we're going to get a delay of game penalty, or rather a timeout taken by Copper Hills, and we'll take one with them as well. We'll be back after this word from WGU with no score early on between Copper Hills and Lone Peak.
They said I have to take tests when they tell me to.
They said my degree would cost a fortune.
But I didn't have to listen to them.
Because I have a university that listens to me.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the University of You.
Welcome back, everyone. KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA first round presented by Mountain America Credit Union continues. No score between Copper Hills and Lone Peak, your defending 6A champions. Alexander Timop alongside my broadcast partner Brett Hammer here at the home of the defending champs. And while we have a minute here, Hammer, let's touch on one of the Heidemann Associates keys to the game, presented by Heidemann Associates, the full-service law firm that's committed to winning for their clients. Copper Hills had one key to the game, and simple. Just got to let Kitchen do his thing.
Yeah, let Kitchen cook. If Copper Hills wants to have a shot at pulling off a major upset, they have to control the ball. They rolled up 200-plus rushing yards last week, but could not punch it in against a stiff West Jordan defense. Lone Peak hasn't been the best on rushing defense all season, so that could be a place to expose this defending state championship defense.
And Kitchen's going to take it on the right side, and he's going to get a good chunk of the yardage back. He'll get about maybe 9. It'll be 4th down and about 9 here. Alex Passy is the one who knocked him out of bounds. So 4th and 8 from midfield. And if this turns into a field position battle, Hammer, I think in the long run, you'd have to think that favors Copper Hills with this ground game.
Yeah, it favors Copper Hills, especially because you're taking the ball out of Lone Peak's offense, which means you're not going to have to worry about getting into a shootout because the game is going to go at the pace you want it to, and you're also going to give your defense a lot more time to rest. The issue is, how much time is that offensive line going to have to rest?
Well, they don't have time to rest right now because Cole Christensen on the return got back close to the 43-yard line. And that's where Lone Peak will start with the football, and let's continue on hitting that Heidemann Associates keys to the game. It really comes down to, Hammer, which Lone Peak team shows up, because we touched on in the open, this team has the ability to be world beaters, and then other games they don't look like world beaters at all.
Well, and you said it earlier, Lone Peak has been consistently inconsistent all season. They started off with a blowout against 5A frontrunner Timpview, then proceeded to reel off 4 consecutive wins with 3 against top-tier opponents. Then the Knights dropped 3 straight games out of their Final Four, including a blowout against Sky Ridge on September 30th and getting crushed on ESPN against Corner Canyon the following week. So on any given night, they can look like world beaters or throw up a clunker.
Caden Hodson takes it left side on the keeper. He'll get to midfield. Ball comes out, but it's recovered by, it looked like it was Jethro James that picked it up, or Jethro Johnson rather, that picked it up. And a big break there for the Knights.
That's a good heads-up play by Kelemete Fa'asa'utaulo because that ball popped out, but he could have scored. He could have ran right to the end zone. So great heads-up play.
Yeah, Jethro Johnson saved the Lone Peak Knights a whole bunch of headaches right there on that sideline. Play action. Hodson! Got away from one, got away from another. Not the second, third, and fourth wave to get him. They swallow him up.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of a misunderstanding, miscommunication there because the running back seemed to run the wrong way, and Caden Hodson looked a little flustered, which is unfortunate, but he was able to get a stiff arm down and get back, and only you lose 3 instead of 8.
McKay Fa'asa'utauloa officially gets credited with the sack. And that makes it 3rd and 4 now. Loss of 2. It could have been a 3rd and 10. Now it's a 3rd and 4. So not nearly as a disastrous play as it could have been for the Knights. No score here in the first quarter. Hodson, play action. Throws, it's picked off! Intercepted! Just like we talked about on the RPO. Donovan Arnold with the pick, and Copper Hills in business.
Lone Peak runs a lot of RPOs. The unfortunate part about that play is with Caden Hodson forgot to read Donovan Arnold at that outside linebacker spot and gave it right to him. They're lucky that catching that underneath route, they were lucky to stop him on Donovan Arnold's way to the end zone.
And we talked about it earlier. They have had trouble in the past taking care of the football, Lone Peak. That's been one of their bugaboos. And there's the first one of the game. So 1st and 10 CH now from the 42. Kitchen in the power formation. Takes it on the sweep left side. Gets a block. Takes it to the left side. And he'll get maybe 4. Knocked out of bounds on that far sideline at about the 39-yard line.
On that 3rd and 20, they definitely liked what they saw because they went ahead and ran that same outside pitch, or the outside counter right again. So let's see. Copper Hills might like what they have on setting this edge.
2nd down now, 7. Just underway here, late first quarter. Alexander Timolet, Brett Hammer here at Lone Peak High School. Kitchen from the gun. Staring into the face of that front. Now it's a dive play. And they're close to first down yardage. Getting close there to first down yardage is Zach Nope, who normally plays on the defensive end, and it's going to be 3rd down and call it maybe 2.
If he would have gotten to the outside, Nope would have been in the end zone. So good heads-up play by this Lone Peak defense, selling out to stop the run on that reverse.
3rd down now, 2. Another big 3rd down here early in this game for the Knights defense. Already backed up against the shadow of their own goal here as the sun sets on a beautiful Friday night here in Highland. Kitchen takes the direct snap, goes right side. He's got the first down, or he might be close to it. Let's see where they mark him. The one judge here down on my side, Hammer, is marking him short of the first down by about a fingernail.
Yeah, I think he was about a yard short.
Yeah, it's going to be about a 4th and it's going to be 4th and about a Manapua here. Maybe less than that. Maybe a bite of a spam musubi here if you want to get really technical.
That's what you want if you're Copper Hills, because you only got 1 yard to go, and they've been great at picking up 1 and 2 yard chunks. Let's see if it happens here.
See if they can do it. They stopped Lone Peak on a 4th down to start the game, and a handoff, direct snap. Oh, man, this is going to be close. Kenny Banza took the carry. Seth Dahl hit him in the gap. And it doesn't look like he got it. LP comes up with a stop. Barely.
Yeah, again, like we saw earlier, they're basically running a 4-6-1. They got 4 guys down, and then they have 6 linebackers to fill every gap and then some. So if you're Copper Hills, you're either going to have to start moving the ball to the outside, or you're going to have to get into these unpredictable play calling situations and start throwing it a little bit to throw Lone Peak's defense off.
So they escape the turnover bite right there. Hodson hands off left side to Anderson. Gets a block. Gets to the 40. Puts his head down. And he'll be ridden out of bounds at the 45-yard line. That's enough to move the sticks. Dominic Leffler with the stop, but not before. Easton Anderson picked up another first down there for Lone Peak.
Yeah, Copper Hills is going to have to start making Caden Hodgson uncomfortable like they did on the drive right before. Otherwise, Lone Peak is going to continue to do basically whatever they want.
No score here late in the first quarter. Christensen in motion. Hodson looking, throws. It's complete in the middle of the zone. That's McChesney. And McChesney's going to battle his way close to the marker. Nope, they're on the contact. That'll be second down and about a yard here with under a minute to go here in the first quarter.
Great throw by Caden Hodgson. Didn't like what he saw here on the left side. Went back to Crew McChesney on that deep slant route, getting him almost to the first down on that first play.
Final 30 seconds of the first quarter, what we likely think will be the last play, barring a penalty. Anderson once again lines up as the single setback in the pistol behind Hodson. And they give to him right side, and he gets the first down and more, and he's got it at the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 9 on the play. And that will take us to the end of quarter number 1 here in Highland, Utah. A defensive struggle, but you'd have to think this favors the Copper Hills Grizzlies in the long run, but we still have a long way to go. No score here on KSLSports.com.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA 6A playoffs continues here on KSLSports.com. This is Lone Peak Football on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Skin Science Institute. Alexander Timberlake, Brett Hammer here. No score between Copper Hills and Lone Peak. Defending champs being tested here thus far, Hammer, but so far they haven't broken.
No, but also Copper Hills is controlling this football game. Don't get it twisted. They're controlling the clock. We made it through the first quarter, with Lone Peak only having 2 drives on offense. They're not letting Lone Peak just put the ball in the end zone.
Screen here down. And this is Christensen. Makes a move. Christensen, first down inside the 25. Cole Christensen with those shifty moves. Barrett Sopowanga finally got him down, but not before he got 12.
Look, if you want to get your quarterback in rhythm, you want to get smart plays, get your best player, your best athlete in space and let him work, and that's what Cole Christensen did right there.
First and 10 from the 24 as the sun now sets behind the mountain range behind Utah Lake. From the 24 now, first and 10. Hodson hands off to Anderson into the hole left side, breaks a tackle, and the ball pops free, and it's picked up and running down the sideline and out to the 45-yard line. Would you believe it? Holbrook was the one to recover the fumble.
And that's a turnover.
And the second turnover of the game for the Lone Peak Knights. Whoa.
If you're Copper Hills, you got to put the ball in the end zone right here because you don't know how many turnovers you're going to get.
Leffler. Check that. It was actually Leffler who recovered the fumble and ran it all the way back. That's the second time that Lone Peak has been inside midfield and have not scored. So Kitchen now from the gun. And it's a direct snap. And getting maybe a yard is Bandus over the left side.
Takes the snap. Hit hard by Pono, Aquin, and Kyle West.
Kyle West, Pono, Aquin there to make the contact.
1 yard gain on the play, second down, 9.
What a start to this game we have had. No one has gotten in the end zone, but Copper Hills has controlled the football game, at least thus far. From the 46 now, second down and 9. Kitchen on the sweep to the right side. He's got a block. He follows that blocking up the right side. He's going to get about maybe 4. And that'll bring up another third down, but a third and a manageable here. And you have to like the chances of the Copper Hills Grizzlies if it's third and manageable most of the night like this.
Yeah, and right there we saw, like we talked about just a little bit earlier in the first quarter, Copper Hills is doing a great job once they get their big boys on the outside, messing with those DBs and linebackers a little bit. So put your offensive linemen in space, make those boys athletes, and move the ball down the field.
Another third down for the Grizzlies. They've converted none of them here so far. Kitchen takes the snap, goes to the right side, puts his head down, submarines forward. He's going to get 2. And 4th and 4 coming up here, and decision time coming up here for the Grizz.
Brought down by Kyle West and C.J. Rubel.
West and Rubel are the ones that knocked him down. And here comes the punt unit. And again, Hammer, that's, even though they couldn't put it in the end zone, you still have to think that's a win for Copper Hills to not let Lone Peak get in the end zone.
It is, but it also could be looked at as a win for Lone Peak. They've turned the football over twice on underneath plays where Copper Hills could have put the ball in the end zone, and both times their defense has been able to come out and get a stop.
Short punt floats out of bounds at about the 30.
Jacob Simmons' punt goes out of bounds.
Simmons' punt floats out of the 30, and it will be marked, I think, close to the 35. That's where they will mark it.
Over at the 35-yard line.
It's a good time to remind you, KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs is presented in part by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm that is committed to winning for their clients. Contact them online at utah.law, or you can call them at 801-754-4240 today to schedule your free consultation with them. Alexander Timolip and Brett Hammer here at LP Field in Highland, Utah, on a beautiful night for football. It is a bit chilly.
1st and 10, Knights.
Knights take over 1st and 10 at their 35. Hodson looks to his right. Going to take a shot. He's got Christensen behind the defense. Got him. Inside the 10. 1st and goal.
Down to the 10-yard line, a 55-yard gain.
55 on the pickup. And that's exactly what we wanted to see right there.
Yeah, no secret. He's fast. And they've been able to keep these short yard gains, but now Lone Peak is telling you, we want to take the top off the defense. We want to put fear in that secondary so that we can continue to move around, do whatever we want. And, yeah, Cole Christensen's fast, no secret about it.
Yeah, that is just a bit of an understatement there, Hammer. Just a bit of an understatement. Into the I formation go the Knights, and now we have a timeout signaled and granted to Bart Brockbank. And we will take one with them as well. We'll be back after this word from UCCU with the score remaining 0-0 here at LP, but the Knights are threatening.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
Alexander Timolet, Brett Hammer here at LP Field. You're at Lone Peak High School for KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs. No score between Copper Hills and Lone Peak, but the defending champs are threatening inside the 10. It's first and goal at the 9, following a 55-yard gain from Caden Hodson to Cole Christensen. And now first and goal in the I formation. And the handoff goes to Anderson, right side, inside the 5. And he barrels his way down close to the 2-yard line. And it'll be second and goal, at the 2.
Even if Lone Peak scores here, Copper Hills has to make them earn it, because even if you can only let them get chip plays, and even if they score, you cannot let them take the top off the defense and move you however they want, because as soon as that happens, morale goes out, the air goes out the bottle, and this upset of the state champs goes away.
Again in the eye, second and goal at the 2. Hodson under center, hands off to the goal line, and short of the goal line, actually didn't get in. Brooks Wild, the ball carrier, and he got nailed to the door like he was one of the 95 Theses. Yeah, and he didn't get in.
He had a hole on that left side, but you got to love linebackers that fill. And that's how they're in. They're running a good man coverage out here. Fill those gaps.
Third down and goal now from about the half-yard line. About as close as you can get. They split 2 wide receivers, and now we're going to have another timeout. This time it's called by Copper Hills as they were not set defensively. So, Hammer, as we take a look at the first quarter and a half here so far, we're almost halfway home here in the first half. I think you and one of our buddies, Travis Hodson, whose cousin Caden is playing tonight, notably for the Lone Peak Knights. We actually talked about it being a low-scoring defensive game, and here we are, no score, almost halfway through the second quarter.
I mean, anytime you run the ball this much and you limit how many possessions each team gets, it's going to be a low score. And again, even if Lone Peak scores here, it's not the end of the world, because Copper Hills is making them have to earn it in the red zone, as they've done the entire field. The difference is going to be this Copper Hills offense. The Grizzlies have got to get big plays. They've got to put this Lone Peak defense on their heels to show them we can play with you.
Third down and goal now from about the half-foot line. Again, Anderson will be in the I formation, dotting it with Hodson under center. Christensen and McChesney are the 2 wideouts in the 22 personnel. Everyone pinched up tight. Hodson sneaks it. Touchdown!
Takes it into the end zone for a nice touchdown.
And with 7:31 to go here in the quarter, it's the defending champs who are on the board first. So now it's Ian Sanchez who comes in to try the extra point. Out of the hold of Cole Christensen. Good snap. Actually, it's a low snap, and Christensen's going to have to take off with it and run. Doesn't matter. He's in. So the bad snap works in Lone Peak's favor. They get 2 out of what should have been 1. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, Lone Peak's worst-kept secret is that Cole Christensen's fast, and he's an athlete. Play breaks down. Great athletes make great plays. It doesn't matter.
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs is presented by Western Governors University, where you can earn a 1-year MBA with Western Governors University, and they offer an education that is affordable, attainable, and full of support. WGU is a proud sponsor of KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs. 8-0 Lone Peak. The defending champs on the board first. Alexander Timolet, Brett Hammer here at LP Field. Sanchez set to kick off. Sanchez's kick will go out the back of the end zone for a touchback, and the Grizz will bring it to the 20-yard line. So big drive coming up here for the Grizzlies after really what you have to think is a rather demoralizing touchdown drive on that last sequence.
Demoralizing touchdown drive and demoralizing extra point, because anytime you go from what should be a stop to turns into not 1 but 2 points, that pulls the air out of the defense a little bit as well. If you want to pump air back into that defense, this offense has got to put points in the end zone. It's got to be a one-possession game. It's got to be close, hopefully tied going into half.
From the 20-yard line now, Kitchen back in there. 1st and 10. And Kitchen takes the direct snap up the gut, and he's got a hole. And Kitchen gets over the 25 out to the 28-yard line. Got about 8 on the play.
Yeah, you saw that formation. The Grizzlies had 2 receivers out, which takes guys out of the box a little bit, which is why they were able to move it up 8 yards up the gut.
Approaching 7 to go here in the first half, what's been a fast-moving game. Kitchen lines up again in the backfield. Takes the direct snap again, but we have a flag. And it looks like it's going back. Suspect false start. Or rather, it's an offside against Lone Peak, so that's going to make it a 1st and 10 for the Grizzlies. That's the second time we've seen that tonight.
And it's the first time that we've seen the Grizzlies go this far spread out with receivers on the outside, which now is giving some unpredictability to the offense and making the Lone Peak defense have to guess whether it's going on.
Jackson Murray now in the gun. He's the regular quarterback now. And again, excuse me, another offside. That's the 3rd one. And if there's anything that's going to drive Bart Brockbank nuts, Hammer, that's going to be that.
Yeah, unnecessary penalties. They've already given up a whole 1st down just on this drive alone in penalties.
Mary now in the gun. Kitchen again is the single setback. And Kitchen's the one that takes the direct snap. And he's got a hole. And he's over the 40, out to the 45, out to the 47-yard line. That's enough to move the sticks for a 1st down. And now you're seeing the Knights start to get shoved back a bit on the offensive line.
Yeah, the defense need to say thank you to Jaden Mayberry, because he was the last line of defense before they were going to take that ball into the end zone and make this a 1-point game.
Halfway home here in the second quarter. Coming up at the half, we remind you we'll have updates from the other games going around the playoffs, including a look in at Park City and Timpanogos with Mark Winterton and Jake Hatch. Mary from the pistol on 1st and 10 from the 47. Mary, pitch, goes to Kitchen, right side, puts his head down, runs over a man, gets out to midfield, and he's going to pick up about 4.
Yeah, Tyler Denny got rocked on that play, on that run by Nate Kitchen. Again, let Kitchen cook.
It's what we said coming in, Hammer, was going to be the key coming in, and I remember you telling me at West that you played defensive back in your day. You don't like seeing running backs like Kitchen come down into your face like that.
No, as a DB, low-key, you don't want to tackle.
Ha! You just want to go for his legs right there, trying to chop him out from underneath. Yeah, Kitchen drops the snap. He gets back on top of it, though. And no pointing from the Lone Peak players, and so it'll be 3rd down and 11. And now it's 3rd down and a mile here, and now what do you do?
Well, sometimes that's what happens when you run trick plays. Now you're in a third and long, and you got 4 minutes, 4.5, 5 minutes going into half. If you're Copper Hills, you spread the ball out, you've spread the defense out, and you've made these guys guess we're in a 5-wide set. You got to go down the field with this. It's got to go in the air because a draw is just not going to do it.
Mary is going to throw, and he's got time, throws into the air, and it's incomplete. And it's going to be 4th down as, boy, Damon Soroy got nailed coming across the middle. And it's 4th down, and again, LP's going to get the football back. And a really disappointing one there for the Grizzlies. They really had something going.
Disappointing for a number of reasons. First off, a slant route on 3rd and long, unless you're just going to be one of those anomalies that splits the safeties and takes it up the middle, that's not the route that's going to get you the 1st down there.
Summons the punt. Good snap, good snap there, and it floats away again out of the reach of the return men, and out of bounds it goes. And it will take us to the 35, 36, 37, 38-yard line.
The Knights will take over on the 37-yard line.
So, Hammer, they uncorked the deep ball on that last drive. It really wouldn't surprise me, though, if they go back to that same play again here on this first play of the drive.
Well, the funny thing about that deep play to Cole Christensen was there were two DBs over there. The corner had safety help. So what I bet you're going to see is you're probably going to see this cornerback, he's close to 5-6 yards off because he's saying, look, you might go underneath, but you are not beating me over top. It's a pride thing. DBs have most pride of any position group on the field.
And they are going to throw it over the middle, and again it's overthrown and incomplete. And a flag comes in from the back, a late one.
Hodgson's pass is incomplete. Penalty marker on the field.
Don't know what this could...
Sean Blanton, the intended receiver.
Don't know what this could be. Sean Blanton, the intended receiver. But it came in from the back, Judge. You wonder if it's... No, it's a hands to the face foul.
In the back against Copper Hill.
It's a hands to the face foul against Copper Hills, and that's a first down.
If you're Copper Hills with how low scoring of a game this is, you cannot afford for Lone Peak to put another ball in the end zone going into half with you basically having no chance to score again unless Copper Hills decides to come out throwing the football.
8-0 Copper Hills. Trailing late here in the first half. Hodgson from the gun, blitz coming, throws. That is complete. Looked like it hit the ground. And instead McChesney takes it. The ball comes out again. And again a scramble for it. And I think Copper Hills has this football. No, it's not. It is LP football. And again, a lucky break there for the Knights.
We've seen Caden Hodgson turn the football over a lot this season. He's doing a great job with these screenplays. When you have free blitzers, he's doing a great job at getting the balls to guys in open space and letting them do the work.
So that time it was McChesney who got the first down but then fumbled it. Now here's a handoff right side. This is Wild. He's got a hole. He's at the 20, 15, 10. Touchdown! No flags. 42-yard touchdown run for Brooks Wild.
Yeah, they took a page out of the Copper Hills playbook, pulled that left guard, and Brooks Wild stayed right behind him until he picked up the block, and he was all the way to the end zone.
Touchdown run.
So after a slow start, the defending champs starting to kick it into gear here late in the first half. Ian Sanchez now to kick the extra point. Hopefully it's a better snap and a better hold this time than it was for Christensen to handle. This time it's a better snap, better hold, and the kick is good. 15-0 in favor of Lone Peak with 3:40 left here in the first half. Back after this word from Stonehaven.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of Lone Peak football presented by Skin Science Institute as part of the UHSAA playoffs. Presented by Mountain America Credit Union continues 15-0. Lone Peak, your defending champions, leads. Alexander Timolp alongside Brett Hammer at LP Field. Sanchez is set to kick off. Kickoff is a bit shorter this time, but it will once again not be returnable, and it will be a touchback.
The Sanchez kick goes into the end zone for a touchback. It'll come out to the 20 and be first and 10.
So we'll come out to the 20, first and 10 in favor of the Copper Hills Grizzlies, down by 15, and remember, they will get the ball to start half number 2's proceedings.
So the Grizzlies need to kill 2 birds with one stone, and this is what they got to do. We saw on that last drive, quarterback wasn't super comfortable throwing the football because as soon as that pass rush came, he got it out to the slant route, which wasn't going to get them the first down. The other thing is you got to make this Lone Peak defense respect your passing offense and stop blitzing you every time.
3:38 to go officially here in the first quarter. Mary from the pistol. And he gives it up the middle of the kitchen, and he gets nailed to the door right as he got the football at the 19-yard line. Pono Quinn with the stop. Lost about a yard on the play. Now second down and 11 from the 19. Obvious passing down here for Jackson Mary. Staring into the face of that 4-man front. And here they come. Mary rolls to his left, throws on the run, and that's incomplete, intended for Nope. And it'll be third down again.
3 minutes going into the second half, when you're down 15 points to the defending state champions, this is not the time to be getting your quarterback warmed up throwing the football, which is why there was so much of an issue. They couldn't get the run game going, and now that they're desperate, now they have to get the quarterback warmed up and in rhythm, which is why they're having issues here. And they're in they've been in it all night, 3rd and long.
Third down and 11 now. Copper Hills has yet to convert a third down in this game. Mary looking, throws over the middle. That pass is incomplete as Nope got upended. And it would be 4th and long. And again, a 3-and-out for Copper Hills, and they'll have to kick it away.
It was actually a smart throw. Put enough touch on the ball to get it over the linebacker. The issue is sometimes when you're a receiver and you go up like that, there is a real fear of coming down and getting blasted by that linebacker. You play mind games with yourself and you make a drop.
Christensen again back to return. It's a line drive kick. It'll go past Christensen and come into his arms at the 49. Gets a block at the 45. At the 40. 35. And he gets brought down right there at the 35. And so that's where the Lone Peak Knights will start, but there is a flag down on the far side of the field at the 27-yard line, and where the yellow hanky is tossed, I suspect this is coming back. Cameraman Doug Jardine tells me it's in the area of what appears to be a blindside hit on the return team.
Yeah, there were a couple interesting blocks going across that whole play. I think they put that football on the ground on that punt in hopes that Cole Christensen wouldn't work his magic.
Right.
But you get those blocks, you get an athlete like Cole Christensen, you get him in space, he's taking it.
And it's a face mask, in fact, against the Copper Hills Grizzlies on the return, so it'll be first down for the Lone Peak Knights, and this is going to march the football inside the red zone. Well, as if it couldn't get any worse, now they're right on the doorstep of the red zone.
They're on the doorstep of the red zone on the first play of the drive, and worst of all, this offense is comfortable because they've run it on the Grizzlies as well as thrown it deep, so they can do anything they want here.
Hodson hands off to Anderson, right side. Gets into the stack. And he gets about maybe 4. Off that right side. Taking a look at the Red Zone show right now on KSLSports.com. Viewmont leads Cedar Valley 14-7. Late in the first half. Dane Stewart, Moose Bingham have the call for you on that one. Reminder, you can listen to the Red Zone show on the radio only for right now because of the Jazz game that's going on. Or rather, only watch it live on the app right now because of the Jazz game that's going on the radio. Hudson drops the pass, pressure coming, throws, that's complete to Christensen, cuts back, makes another man miss, ball comes out again! And I think once again Copper Hills might have this football. Or do they? Copper Hills ball!
I was just thinking to myself, right now would be the time for Copper Hills to pick up another turnover. But you have to. I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but if you're Copper Hills, you have to score here because it does pump you up a little bit when you get the turnover, but it's actually demoralizing when the defense gets the turnover and the offense does nothing with it. It flips that momentum completely. So Copper Hills has to get in the end zone here, take it 15-7 going into half, and just control the clock.
Well, you're beating a dead horse. I hope you didn't leave the head in the bed like Jack Woltz did in The Godfather. Gussie Lister would get that reference as Kitchen takes it to the right. And he's going to get about maybe 2. Out to, call it, about maybe the 15-yard line.
So what's confusing for me is they're averaging about 4 to 5 plays a carry on each one of these runs that they take to the outside, and I get that you don't want to abuse it, but when you're in a situation like this where you're giving the ball up in the red zone, not abusing a play is not an excuse. You got to put the ball in the end zone. You can worry about predictable play calling later.
2nd down and 9 now from the 13. 1:40 to go here in the first half. Again, Kitchen in there, in the gun, takes it to the left, gets a couple of blocks, cuts it back, hurdles over a man, and he gets to about the 16-yard line. Remember, Copper Hills is going to get the football to start the second half, so it's not exactly the end of the world if they cannot get a first down here, because they will get the football to start. But again, like you said, Hammer, as Lone Peak's going to take a defensive timeout to stop the clock. By the way, they have all 3 left, and now they have 2. Really, the difference in this game so far is Copper Hills has 3 takeaways, but no points.
No points, and the issue is going to be in this 2-minute drill, running the football is going to cost all of your timeouts. So you're either going to have to get a first down every time, come up, spike the ball, run, hurry up, or what is probably more effective is switch up these formations, because we saw on that last drive, Lone Peak got really uncomfortable as soon as the Grizzlies started moving these guys out wide. So you got to switch up the offense, move guys around, make this Lone Peak defense confused, because if they key on the run, we've seen they're going to stop it all night if you let them blitz all 10 guys and just leave a safety back there. They're putting 10 guys in the box.
Yeah, they are.
You're not going to run the football on the inside if you got 10 guys in the box.
Yeah, that is true. It basically is like broken record. Like they're like Brockbank. All he has to do is call cover 1 every single darn play, and here we go again.
Yeah, he's running engage 10. Usually you run engage 8. He's running engage 10. They're just leaving a safety, and they're lining everybody up 5 yards off the football.
3rd down and 6 now. Kitchen gives on the fly. Sweep! And nowhere to go for Zach Nope as he got pummeled in the gap. And LP will use their second to last timeout here with 1:20 left to go. Nathan Darrington dropped the sledgehammer.
Like I said earlier, this is demoralizing for this Grizzlies defense because they're doing everything they can to give this offense opportunities. And as a defensive player, you get so hyped up, so gassed up when you get these turnovers. But it is a little disappointing when you look at the offense and you say, guys, we are giving you every opportunity that we can to help you guys put the football in the end zone. And it takes so much out of you because you almost feel like you're not being appreciated for what you're doing.
Well, at the very least, Copper Hills will get the football to begin half number 2. Checking in again on the red zone, Olympus leading Payson right now, 10-0. That game is going on with Jeremiah Jensen and Stevenson Sylvester on the KSL TV app. And that game has about 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Here it's 1:21 to go, officially here at LP Field. Alexander Timblett, Brett Hammer. As Simmons' punt is a left-footed wobbler that will travel to the 50 and will die right there. Christensen says to get out of the way with it.
Great job by the punter. Way to make a play. They saw that they had Cole Christensen up on that top side hash, and he said, look, we're going to put it on the other side of the field to get our guys more time to get down. There was also a little bit of a late punt, allowed those gunners to get down there if Cole Christensen was to catch it. Great job by the special teams for the Copper Hills.
Grizzlies have the Knights hemmed in here on every angle now as Bart Brockbank's going to go 5 wide.
Yeah, they're throwing the football here, and they're going deep.
And they definitely are, at least underneath-wise. That pass is caught. And stepping out of bounds after making the catch is Trey Robinson. First time we called his name tonight.
And again, thanks to that Cole Christensen touchdown that we saw, the first score of the game, now Copper Hills has to respect everything because they're getting a little bit twitchy, a little bit nervous, saying all we want to do is make sure that they don't score. But anything can happen in the 2-minute drill. Anything can happen.
I threw the inquisitive look over your way as Hodson drops back to pass. Now to run for his life, throws, and just throws it into the bench.
Watson's pass is incomplete.
I thought you were going to be Tony Romo there for a second and actually call a touchdown there, Hammer. I was waiting for it.
Honestly, I get these thoughts that come into my head, and I just remember how much people hate when Tony Romo calls the plays beforehand, so I don't. But I will say, the last game you and I did together, I called a forced fumble, a muffed snap before it even happened. So, sometimes when you know, you know.
I'm shooting a look over there to our cameraman, Doug Jardine, because I'm going to need some written evidence on that from the camera on the last one. Anyway, here's Hodson on third down, throws, that's complete, sitting in the zone and making the catch for the first down at the 35. That's Sean Blanton with the catch, and that's a first down.
Sean Blanton is a heck of a receiver. He's big, strong, he's fast, and he has great hands. I saw him do a one-handed corner route in the back of the end zone earlier during warm-ups.
That's as Robinson makes the catch down at the 30. Again, clock will run. They're well within range for Ian Sanchez, whose long this year was 55 against Skyridge back on September 30th. Now here's Hodson on second down and 5. He takes a shot into the corner, and it's picked off again. Zach Nope with the interception, but it looked like he shoved off on Sean Blanton, and it's going to be, and it looks like it's going to be a pass interference against Zach Nope. I think we saw it from well over here, that Nope got two hands on the back of Blanton and shoved him.
Yeah, that one's coming back. The unfortunate part is Blanton was actually in position to make the play on that football because the ball was overthrown. The push was unnecessary. And again, you have these 0-to-hero moments where that could have been a huge momentum shift for Copper Hills to take it 15-0 going into the half. But now you're going to move the football even further for this Lone Peak offense and give them yet another chance to score.
So now we're having a discussion here. The LP offense is still out there on the field. They're just trying to, I think, figure out where the ball's going to be spotted after the enforcement of the infraction. So it is pass interference against Zach Nope, so it will be first down, but it's going to be 15 yards up from the 30. I believe that's going to be at the 15.
Well, and you're going to notice here, watch this Grizzlies defensive line. These guys are getting tired. They have been on the field for so long. And again, morale's a little bit low because they keep picking up these turnovers and they're feeling a little underappreciated because these Grizzlies offense not doing a whole lot with it.
Hodson looking, throws right side. That's complete to Blanton. Spins his way out of bounds, stops the clock. Pickup of 7, or pickup of 4 rather, from the 16 down to the 12. Zach Nope, who was the guilty party on the PI call earlier, shoved him out, and the clock stops with officially 14 seconds left. And before that happens, we have a timeout signaled for and granted to the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Meanwhile, here on the Red Zone, we're taking a look at some of the playoff games. Hammer just looked over here. Wasatch just took the lead on the Woods Cross Wildcats with 6:31 to go in the fourth quarter. And that's a very interesting one, Hammer, because those are two teams that have been neck and neck basically all season long between each other in the same region.
Yeah, Woods Cross is, I believe, 3-6, and the other one's 6-4. And again, it's looking like it's just coming to be a shootout here at the end. A little bit different than our game. The Grizzlies have yet to get on the board. And I mean, it's obvious, but if the Grizzlies want to win this game, they got to score basically 21 in the third quarter to make this thing feasible going into the fourth. But we haven't seen anything from this Grizzlies offense to suggest that Lone Peak needs to be afraid.
We'll keep you updated on the other scores coming in from around the state on the Red Zone Show, which is currently airing only on the app and online right now because of the Jazz game on KSL Sports Radio. Hodson, free rusher coming off the edge, gets rid of it now, throws into the middle of the pack, and threw it into a traffic jam on the I-15. And probably that should have been picked off because there were 3 white shirts around that football, Hammer, and I don't know how Zach Noble didn't come up with that thing.
That's dangerous. But again, like I said earlier, Caden Hodson is a baseball player. He's a pitcher. And baseball players that play quarterback believe they can make any throw on the field whenever they want. They think they're a little invincible. And look, Caden's a great athlete, but you cannot run outside. Only Patrick Mahomes can go outside and throw it back in. It's not a smart play if you're a quarterback.
Oy, a lot of movement there on the offensive line. Take your pick. Was one of the offensive linemen, was one of the wide receivers. It looked like that was one where the center snapped the ball on 2 when it should have been on 1. Just glad they don't have a microphone down there, Hammer, because it was false start, looked like on everybody but the center.
Look, if you're the Grizzlies, you just got to go bit by bit, chip by chip, little by little. Just get every win that you possibly can and not letting them score on that 3rd down, getting the pass break them on 2nd down, getting a stop right here, making it go into 4th down, run the clock out. Those are all the little things you need to do to make this game as manageable as you possibly can.
8 seconds officially left here in the first half. It's going to be 3rd down and 12 as Bart Brockbank is trying to figure out where the spot of the football is on the field. In fact, I think we're trying to reset the clock. I think that's what it is. Officially, there should be 9 seconds left here in the first half. As we have a minute, Timpanogos and Park City late in the second quarter. They are in a 28-0 hole, the Timberwolves are. The winner gets Lehigh next Friday. Meanwhile, it's Caden Hodson on 3rd and 12. Dropping back to pass. Throws. Got a man open in the corner of the end zone. Laying out Christensen. Couldn't come up with it.
Great play, though, by Caden Hodson. He knew he had the corner on the backside. He watched the right side the entire time, and as soon as he made that break on the corner route, he put the football exactly where it needed to be. Unfortunately, couldn't come up with it.
That would have been a terrific catch by Cole Christensen, and that certainly would have made the Rewind top 5 if that had happened, but so now here comes Christensen back to the line because he's got a hold for Ian Sanchez. This a 37-yard field goal, call it, from the right hash. What will be the final play of the first half. Good snap, good hold. The kick is on its way, and the kick is good. And that will take us to the end of half number 1 here at LP Field, as Lone Peak takes an 18-0 lead after starting relatively slowly. Okay, Hammer. A relatively sloppy first half by Lone Peak. They gave up the ball 3 times, but they got away with it. I don't know about you, but I still think Copper Hills still has a shot.
Copper Hills should feel like they had a shot. Look, it's not great to give up a field goal because now, because of that 2-point conversion, you have to score 3 touchdowns or go for it in order to make this thing manageable. But again, another win by this Grizzlies defense to not allow a touchdown. Again, they started, I think this is the second drive that Lone Peak started in their own red zone, and the defense was able to come up with a stop. So the defense is the MVP for the Grizzlies right now. The difference is going to be this offense has to find a way to score the football, and that might be you got to get this quarterback warmed up because he's not warmed up. We've seen both of his passes. He's been a little bit nervous, a little bit twitchy. The Grizzlies got to get the quarterback and the pass game in rhythm because right now, like we're seeing, they're putting 10 guys in the box, and you're not going to run the football with 10 guys in the box. You got to open this thing up.
We'll see if anything changes in the second half. Copper Hills has 24 minutes to turn this deficit around, or the Lone Peak Knights will open defense of their UHSAA 6A title with a victory, moving on to the second round. But we still have a long way to go, folks, to determine the outcome of this one. At the half, it is the defending champ Lone Peak Knights 18 and the Copper Hills Grizzlies nothing. We'll be back for the second half after this word from our sponsors, and we'll look forward to what's on tap in the second half. We'll be back with KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs. After this is Lone Peak Football, presented by Skin Science Institute.
I love our culture here at Skin Science. I think it plays to every student. Most people who choose aesthetics are creatives, and this is such a great outlet for them. Not only are they able to work one-on-one with their clients, they're also able to prepare them for what really happens in the world.
I loved the atmosphere at Skin Science. It was easy to make friends. The instructors actually form relationships with you, which is one of my favorite parts. It's a fun place to be, especially when you're there for 8 or 16 months. I actually miss it now.
Skin Science does a phenomenal job on providing students the foundation they need to be able to jump into a career in medical aesthetics. During their internship at Arlani, they can expect to assist the practitioners with all things injectables such as Botox and dermal fillers. They assist with all of our medical facial procedures and then also with our body contouring procedures.
I would 100% recommend Skin Science Institute to anyone that's looking for an aesthetics program. I did not attend Skin Science Institute, but having worked here and seen how the staff and instructors care about their students and want to watch them grow and succeed, we are dedicated to helping our students feel confident in every service that they perform.
For over 25 years, Salt Lake Running Company has helped people of all ages and levels find the gear they need to start their fitness journey. From a free custom shoe fit analysis to a premium assortment of footwear and workout essentials, SLRC is a top 10 run shop in America. Locally owned, locally operated at 5 locations along the Wasatch Front. SLRC is there to help you gear up and get out. Visit a store near you or shop online at slrc.com.
Other universities didn't fit into my life.
They said I'd have to quit my job to go to school.
He said it would take me 4 years to graduate. They said I have to take tests when they tell me to.
They said my degree would cost a fortune.
But I didn't have to listen to them.
Because I have a university that listens to me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the University of You.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
As the sun sets behind the Wasatch Front, welcome back to KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of Lone Peak Football, presented by Skin Science Institute. This is the UHSAA playoffs on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Mountain America Credit Union. As we get set to start the third quarter, Copper Hills and Lone Peak here, the defending champs leading 18-0. Alexander Timmel alongside Brett Hammer. Well, Hammer, it was a tale of two. I guess we could tell two sides, really. Copper Hills' defense is doing what they can to hold them in the game. The offense is not doing their part to hold them in the game right now.
So here's the weird thing. Usually when you lose the turnover margin, when you lose the turnover battle, especially by significant margin, I think, what are we at? 3-0?
3-0, yes.
3 turnovers from Lone Peak, 0 from Copper Hills. When you lose the turnover battle, you lose football games. Usually if you do bad things happen. But like Caden Hodson running around, throwing the ball back inside, this Lone Peak offense turning the football over, and Copper Hills still can't capitalize off of it. Part of that is Lone Peak is that good. The other part of it is the Grizzlies offense is just way too predictable, and the quarterback didn't warm up until he was in tough situations where they needed big plays. So, if you're Copper Hills, you got to bank on more turnovers, but I'm going to bet at 3-0, you're probably not getting any more. You're going to just go down, play defense, and score the football, just straight up.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn into a situation where Colorado State against Nevada. Of course, Colorado State beat Nevada, but only because they got a defensive touchdown on the second to last series of the game. Hopefully that's not the case. We want to bring you up to date on a couple of scores we've heard from around the state. The Shield game over in Region 1, Weber against Roy. That one is tied at 14 in the third quarter. We're watching the red zone here. Box Elder leads Highland 21-7. And last we checked, Timpanogos trails Park City 28-0. And as we went to halftime, Viewmont and Cedar Valley became a 7-point game, 21-14. That's where it stands right now. The winner of this game moves on to face the Syracuse Titans next week on Friday. We remind you that game will be available on KSLSports.com. Unfortunately, we will not be doing that game. Hammer, Amrine, and the crew of the BYU kids are all off on that night to allow them to go to the BYU football game against East Carolina.
Okay, so Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lone Peak has already blown a pretty big lead in one of their losses this season, correct?
Are you... Please don't tell me we're going there with this.
Well, all I'm saying
Let's not bring up the 30-10 comeback that they blew up against Skyridge, because that was different.
That's what you're banking on. You have to, because there's no other...
Yes.
You got to score at least 19 points to win this football game, which is a lot considering you scored 0 in the first half.
Yeah, for those that actually want to remember what happened back on September 30th, Skyridge was trailing Lone Peak at one point 30-10 in the fourth quarter, and then the Falcons just came back and exploded for 21 unanswered. That got them the win, and it was all capped off by a Cole Christensen touchdown that was called back because of an offensive pass interference. As Sanchez's kick is blasted through the back of the end zone for a touchback. And so if we want to see anything akin to that 30-10 comeback, it better start right now for the Grizz.
So here's a couple of things that cannot happen if you're the Grizzlies. You cannot not score in this first drive. The other thing that cannot happen is Cole Christensen and Crew McChesney cannot beat you deep. If either of those things happen, it's a guaranteed loss for the Grizzlies. So you got to go down the football, punch the football down this Lone Peak defense's throat, make them respect going out wide, and do not let Cole Christensen beat you.
A 3-score game. Might as well be a 2-score game right about now, the way it feels. Jackson Murray in the shotgun, takes the snap, blitz coming, steps up into the pocket, rolls to his right, and a penalty flag goes down, and I suspect it's going to be a face mask. Doug Jardine, our cameraman, and I just looked over at each other in agreement, and that is exactly what it's going to be, I think.
I love that they're trying to go deep, and I love that they're trying to push this Lone Peak defense. But if you're the Grizzlies, you got to get him rhythm and warmed up first before he's going to make those big ones downfield. So give him a couple RPOs, give him a couple wide receiver screens, give him a slip screen, let him get chunk plays, and then start running this ball and make this Lone Peak defense guess what you're going to do. But again, you have 9 guys in the box. On that last one, they had 9. So, I mean, they're giving up 1. But actually, when you put these guys out wide, make them respect those guys out wide, because right now Lone Peak's not respecting it at all.
And now they're going they're going 4 wide here in the shotgun. Kitchen and the direct snap, and again another running play, and again not much room to run.
You got to fool this Lone Peak defense. And again, we saw in the first half, they ran the 5 wide, they ran the 4 receiver set, and they were able to get these guys jumping off sides and stuff like that. But it only works so many times before they say, look, we're going to force you to pass the football. Like, otherwise, we're just not going to respect it at all, which is what's happening here. So hopefully on this 5 wide, they actually get something quick, short, and easy for this Grizzlies offense.
Hiram Perkins is now the quarterback in the game. He throws on the middle, passes deflected and incomplete. And it'll be 3rd down, as it looked like it was an RPO slant over the middle, and it will be 3rd down and 9.
That's the second pass now for the Grizzlies where the ball's gotten tipped up into the air and Lone Peak hasn't come up with the football. So it's weird because the turnover differential really should be 3-2, still in favor of Copper Hills, but it should be a lot closer. But Lone Peak's not capitalizing on these tip balls, which means Copper Hills should have every opportunity to get back in this football game.
3rd down and 9 now. From the gun, Perkins drops the pass, looking, throws. That's complete. A 1st down for Zach Nope. He's going to have the 1st down on forward progress. And he will get 12 on that one. A big 3rd down conversion. And more importantly, that's the first 3rd down conversion of the night. And we're going to have an additional 15 yards tacked on for unsportsmanlike conduct because somebody on the Lone Peak defense smacked the ball out of the hands of the official. Not a smart penalty.
Like, I like to be nice, but sometimes there are things, and the coaches will tell you this, that's a bonehead play. There's no way to make up for that. It's completely unnecessary. That, like, there's not been any missed calls. There's no reason for you to be that upset to do something that stupid, especially in a situation when, like, the Grizzlies aren't in necessarily comeback position right now, and you just given them every opportunity to walk down the field.
And Bart Brockbank is going to have a good conversation with the guy who smacked the ball out of the official's hands. So Copper Hills advances past midfield for the first time since early in the first quarter. And again, that was their first 3rd down conversion of the entire football game right there.
Once again, they have about 8 in the box, which means if you're Copper Hills, get the football out fast. Get it to the outside because they're not covering those flat routes.
Referee trying to take the name down of the player that smacked the football out of the official's hands into the book so that he has a record. Perkins now on 1st and 10 from the 43. Almost dropped the snap. Rolls out. Now he's going to take off and run. Switches hands at the 30, and he gets tackled out of bounds at close to the 27-yard line. That's a pickup of 16 on the play and a 1st down for the Grizzlies. And now we're starting to see something moving here.
This is exactly, they're making smart plays. They have that amazing hitch route that's run on that inside seam. Then Hiram Perkins sees, look, nobody's open. They've dropped everybody back. I have this left side block. Takes it and picks up the 1st down. They're at about the 20-yard line. They're exactly 29-yard line, sorry. And again, going 5 wide again, they're making this Lone Peak defense respect these outside edges.
And they're spreading them out, which is a good thing. Perkins now throws over the middle. A lot of traffic, and that pass is incomplete. In fact, there was a whole bunch of parking lot of shopping carts in the parking lot, but there's a penalty flag, Doug Jardine's telling me, in the secondary. Somebody got hauled down in the defensive secondary, and Hammer, a former defensive back himself, is yanking on his collar here, telling me that's holding because he knows a thing or two about doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you actually did it. Not saying you actually did it.
Look,
yes.
The secret about playing DB is that you go pass interference every single time, and you just see how many holds you can get before the referee calls it. On that one,
right.
Unfortunately for Copper Hills, they're going to get this pass interference call. The unfortunate part is Nate Kitchen didn't even know where the football was.
So you're telling me you did hold a lot of receivers then?
Look, you just do what you can, and then the refs call what they call, but you hold as much as you want.
Yeah, you and I would probably have a problem because I was a receiver back in my day. We'd probably have a problem on the field if that happened a lot. Here's Kitchen on the direct snap. Takes it to the left side. He gets into the stack. He gets to about the 16. He picks up about 5.
So this is what needed to be happening in the first
half.
Where
Correct.
they went, look,
yes,
we're going to go 5 wide. But the first quarter, I don't think we saw anything more than one receiver out to the outside, and there were 3 or 4 times they put the ball on the outside. Everything else was gut, power O. And so I'm loving what they're doing. They're completely confusing this Lone Peak defense, running different plays out of the same formation and running different plays out of different formations, keeping this defense on their toes.
And again, 4 wide receivers in this formation. It doesn't look like Lone Peak has a safety back over the top here. Perkins passes, batted down. That time they were ready for it. Nathan Darrington is the one who smacked the football down legally, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
Look, Hiram Perkins is playing very, very smart. He's not taking sacks. He's living to play another down. Like, he's had a couple times where he's been blitzed right up the middle, and he gets rid of it in a way that either his receiver's making a play on it or nobody is, but he's not throwing interceptions, and he's not taking sacks. He's getting rid of the football, and therefore keeping this drive alive.
3rd down. Probably 2 plays to get 7 yards right here if you're the Grizz. Play clock is at 0, and we're going to have a timeout signal for and granted to Copper Hills as the play clock was running down inside of 5 seconds. We'll take it with them and be back after this quick word from Western Governors University with the Lone Peak Knights leading 18-0, but the Grizzlies threatening.
They said I have to take tests when they tell me to.
They said my degree would cost a fortune.
But I didn't have to listen to them.
Because I have a university that listens to me.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the University of You.
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs continues next week Friday with the 2nd round of the 5 and 6A playoffs. Check the KSL Sports High School streaming guide for the games on our network. And as always, stay up to date with KSL Sports Rewind on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at KSL Sports Rewind for the latest news, updates, and scores only Dusty and Dane can give you. That's KSL Sports Rewind on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And catch the UHSAA playoffs continuing next Friday, only here on the home of UHSAA streaming sports, KSLSports.com. We come back for 3rd down and 7 from the 15 for Copper Hills. Again, probably 2 plays to get 7 yards here inside the red zone. And Perkins he didn't get the snap. In fact, he dropped it. And Lone Peak has the football. Dahl recovers the football. And finally, something goes the way of the Knights defensively. Their first takeaway of the night.
That is probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened because you had all the momentum in your favor getting the ball to start the half, and now you've given it right back to Lone Peak in a very depressing fashion. It's one thing to give the ball away under your own free will. It's another thing to just make a mistake right when you're on the cusp of having a great drive and about to put the football into the end zone.
Hodson takes over with company in the backfield. He drops the pass. Plenty of time. He's got McChesney. One-on-one coverage. He's got him. Out of bounds inside the 40. Got right behind Zach Nope. And a 1st down.
I hate to be the guy that said I told you so, but you cannot let Crew McChesney and Cole Christensen get over the top. Stay 7 to 10 yards off those guys. If they want to run inside and run into those linebackers, fine. But you know they're fast. It's the worst kept secret. They're going to go over the top, and that's what they did right there.
1st and 10 now from the 37. Hodson to Anderson, left side. He's got a hole, 30. And down inside the 30, he goes to the 28-yard line. They're going to mark him close to the first down. They will give him the first down right at that spot. As the Knights just keep on chugging away down here close to the red zone. Again, we're going to keep you updated on other playoff games from around the state coming up. Viewmont leads Cedar Valley 21-17 late in the third quarter. Again, it's Wild the handoff. And Brooks Wild gets ganged up on at the 22-yard line. As we go under 9 minutes here in the third quarter with the Lone Peak Knights leading 18-0. Alexander Timolip alongside Brett Hammer here at LP Field. On a chilly, cold night at the foot of the Wasatch Mountains here in Highland. Triple wide receiver lines up to the right. McChesney on the right side. Christensen on the left. Hodson to pass. Looking, throws. That is dropped. In and out of the hands of Jethro Jensen, the tight end who was lined up in the slot to the right. And it will be third down and call it about 4 here for the Knights.
Look, you got him in third, about 4. What you're going to see is they are doubling up on Cole Christensen over on that top, up on that top side. They got a cornerback and a safety over top. They're going to bracket him, which means as soon as he comes up, the safety is going to crack down, so he is smashed in between both those guys. The unfortunate part is you're going to leave 2 of these guys over here on the bottom of your screen wide one-on-one.
Instead, it's a handoff to Wild. Brooks Wild inside the 10, inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Well, they knew they were coming with the pass coverage, and that time they go with the run for a first down.
Yeah, if you're Lone Peak, you have these Copper Hill Grizzlies right where you want them, because you can say this secondary is so afraid of getting beat by Cole Christensen and Crew McChesney. They are living in the secondary's head rent-free, that now we can open it up and run it about however we want, because they're playing such soft coverage to make sure that they don't get beat.
From the I formation, first and goal from the 3. The I formation dot back is Anderson. He gets the handoff. He's in. Touchdown, Lone Peak. It was Wild on the first time. Then it was Hodson on the first touchdown of the game. And this time it is Easton Anderson who punches it in. And the Knights stretch the lead.
So one thing they're doing a really good job of that we talked about to start the broadcast is they are not – Lone Peak is not allowing Caden Hodson to be uncomfortable, because as we know, when he gets uncomfortable, he tries to make big Johnny Manziel-type plays that don't always work out in his favor, and they've done a really good job at letting the game come to him, let him play really smooth football, and hand the football off. He doesn't have to make big plays, and therefore he can play smart football.
Sanchez knocks through the extra point, 25-0 now. Lone Peak. It's a good time to remind you, KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the 2022 UHSAA playoffs, presented by Mountain America Credit Union, is presented by WGU, where you can earn a 1-year MBA from an education that's affordable, attainable, and full of support. Western Governors University is proud to sponsor KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of UHSAA athletics all season long. Alexander Timolip alongside Brett Hammer at Lone Peak High School here, the defending champs. As Lone Peak leads 25-0 here as we are almost halfway through the third quarter. Sanchez set to kick off. And this kickoff will be returnable for Zach Nope at the 3. He drops it, but picks it back up, and now he has to run, and he's not going to make the 15-yard line. He gets buried at the 10. Pono Aquin there on the special teams knocked him down. Again, update from Eagle Mountain, Cedar Valley, and Viewmont. with Viewmont leading 21-17 with 5 3/4 minutes to go in the third. They're currently marching inside of Cedar Valley territory. Meanwhile, here it's 25-0 Lone Peak over Copper Hills, the defending champs. In front, Hiram Perkins from the gun. Free rusher off the edge, just gets rid of it to get rid of it, and it's incomplete. Zach Nope, the intended receiver, on the out.
These offensive linemen for the Grizzlies are in really wide splits. And the issue is when you're a defensive line and those splits are already wide, you leave those gaps open for those free rushers like we just saw right there. And Hiram Perkins has no time. He has to get the football out of bounds.
Still from the 11, second down and 10.
Second down and 10 now as the back judge is requesting a reset of the play clock. He obliges. Perkins, direct snap. Here's Kitchen up the middle. And Kitchen's going to get about maybe 4 to the 15-yard line. He's going to bring up a third and a manageable 6 here for Copper Hills.
We talked about this during the break, but this is what I would have liked to have seen from Copper Hills earlier in this first half, changing things up, putting Lone Peak on their toes, because we saw it work on this first drive, but now when you're down 25-0, you really have to understand it's a win-or-go-home mentality, back up against the wall, and you just got to start slinging it.
Third down and 6 for the Grizzlies. Ball is at the 15-yard line. They need to get to the 21. Perkins, quick pass. That is complete. And actually, it's in and out of the hands. Intended for Dominic Solaris. And that's 4th down and another 3 and out and a punt. Matthias Nalahine there on the coverage for LP as we want to get you an update from Eagle Mountain right now. Cedar Valley just forced a huge turnover, and they now have it inside the Viewmont 30 with under 5 minutes to go, down by 4 in the third quarter. So that one is set up for a tasty finish in the fourth quarter. Dane Stewart and Moose Bingham have the call for you there from Eagle Mountain. Meanwhile, it's Timolip and Hammer from Lone Peak High School. Good punt here from Summons. And Christensen, dangerous play. He gets buried at the 46-yard line. Well, he took a bit of a risk there, Hammer, but I guess when you're up 25-0, you can do things like that.
When you're up 25-0, you can do things like that. That was a scary play, a dangerous play, not one that I would have made, because people don't get this. Punt coverage is one of the scariest things that there is on planet Earth. Like, it's spooky season right now. You got 11 dudes all running at you, and when you don't fair catch, any one of those dudes can pop you running at full speed. And if you don't fair catch it, if you drop it like that in a position where you could, you turn it over at the 50-yard line. Fortunately, Christensen's a phenomenal athlete, and he knew what he could do there.
Handoff goes up the middle to Anderson, and he gets clobbered in the hole.
Easton Anderson, the ball carrier.
Bring up second down and 8 after a pickup of 2.
He's brought down by JoJo Green.
JoJo Green, first contact there for Copper Hills. As meanwhile, Cedar Valley has just taken the lead with 3 3/4 minutes to go in the third. 23-21, the score there in Eagle Mountain. Much closer than here, obviously. Hodson looking, free rusher, screen pass. That's Wild. Wild into the secondary. He's going to get twisted to the turf, but not before he picks up another 12 and another first down for the Knights. Clock rolling, 5:51 to go here in the third quarter. 25-0 in favor of Lone Peak. Again, the winner of this game moves on to face the Syracuse Titans next Friday night. What a matchup that's going to be up in Central North Utah. From the 33 now. Hodson. Good blitz pickup there from Anderson. Now he rolls to his right and now throws down the field and just throws it in the direction of Crew McChesney. Incomplete.
Incomplete, but what a throw.
Yeah.
On the run, getting popped. That's a 45-yard, maybe not bomb, but quite the dot. Obviously, it was incomplete. It wasn't incredibly accurate, but he knew that he had a receiver over top. And what an athletic play by Caden Hodson. He's played a great game tonight. He's played very safe, hasn't tried to make plays that he didn't need to. Let the offense control this game as a whole instead of trying to play superhero football.
5.25 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Deep pistol shotgun handoff now to Wild. Breaks free. 20, 15, 10. Flag comes down behind the play at about the 15-yard line, and I would assume this is coming back. It looks like it's in the area of holding behind the play, so it'll be second down and short after the enforcement of the foul. Be the 6th penalty against Lone Peak tonight. As the chill of the night starts to set in here at the Wasatch Front here in Highlands. Game time temperature was around 70 degrees, and it's probably dropped into close to the 50s. High 50s right now. Again, once we reach 35 points, the mercy rule will be in effect. From the 27 now, second down and 4 following the penalty. Hodson to throw, steps up, he's got room, and he will slide, gets hog-tied, but no flag on that one. Hodson didn't exactly like that. His teammates didn't like it either. They're going to let the defense of Copper Hills know about it. Tyler Anderson's the one who hog-tied him around the collar. And the officials are stepping in to make sure nothing else comes of this.
As a defense, especially as DBs, when you get to those guys on the second and third level, they love to hit the quarterback because sometimes you feel like the quarterback's a little pretentious because they don't get to get hit in practice. They don't get to take the physicality that everybody else does. So when you get the opportunity to lay a lick on a quarterback, you take it. Fortunately, nothing dirty, nothing cheap there. But again, you see the quarterback, you're going for him, hopefully before he gets that slide. And the DB did a great job of not hitting him any more than he needed to.
So 1st and 10 from the 19. Wild in the backfield of the pistol. And the handoff is to Wild left side. And he's got a crease. Cuts outside of the 15 to the 10. He's going to get thrown back suplex style out about the 12-yard line. And if at the very least Copper Hills ain't going to go down without a fight here, certainly so. Their defense is making sure of that.
No, you're right, but you also mentioned they're about 10 points out here from this mercy rule being in effect. We've said it all night, but right now would be a great time for a Copper Hills turnover. We'll see if that happens because that's the only way they can get themselves back into this football game to hopefully move on to round 2 of these state playoffs.
Second down, 5 now from the 14. McChesney lines up to the right side. Handoff is to Anderson. Flag down again to the left side this time. We'll check what the penalty is, but I assume it's coming back again. It's in the area of holding, and Blanton has his hands up, and he must be the one that grabbed someone by the throat. Or at least by the pads.
Lone Peak is doing a great job. You're going to notice they're pulling their right and left guards to set that edge even more effectively. And the issue is, again, like we talked about earlier, this Copper Hills defense and secondary is so afraid of getting torched by these receivers that they're not filling these gaps where the guards are pulling. And so those left and right edges, the guards are just owning it, and that's why you're going to see Anderson and Wild are just owning these 5- and 6-yard gains on the outside.
The holding penalty against Blanton was waved off, by the way. Surprise. And this is really a shock. I mean, for a Lone Peak team that has had trouble defending the run, they just decide that they're going to run the football right back at a team that has been running the ball relatively effectively the last couple of weeks. Hodson on the eye. He hands to Wild left side. He's got a crease. Spins close to the goal line. He ain't going to get in. He got to the 1.
To say that Copper Hills has run the ball effectively is almost an understatement because Nate Kitchen is averaging 120 yards a game. I think he has 7 games where he's rushed for over 100 yards. They do run the ball incredibly effectively, but again, when you get a school with a big D-line who's willing to sell out to stop the run and force you to throw the football, the end of the first half and the second half is the wrong time to start throwing it.
Hodson already has 1 rushing touchdown tonight. Instead, he gives to Anderson. Didn't get in. And once again, it'll bring a third down. What was once a third down and about a long yard is now third down and a much longer yard. Easton Anderson already has 1 rushing touchdown tonight. Brooks Wild has 2. Caden Hodson has 1. Or rather, Wild has 1, Anderson has 1, and Hodson has 1. This time he's going to take it himself, and this time he's in. And that's the 2nd rushing touchdown of the night for the LPHS quarterback. And Lone Peak continues to pour it on, 31-0 late here in the third quarter. Well, we talked about how they needed to let the game come to him, Caden Hodson. Apparently the game is coming to him on the ground tonight.
Yeah, again, we talked about it earlier. Coming into tonight, he's thrown as many touchdowns as he has interceptions, and he's just played really smart football tonight, which might not have been as smart a play over there with some extracurricular activity after the PAT.
We'll figure out what the penalty is. In the meantime, we want to bring you up to date on a 2A score from down in Delta. Delta leads Millard 20-14 late in the fourth quarter. It's 20-14 the score there in the fourth as we're following along on the Friday Night Red Zone. Meanwhile, Cedar Valley just got the football back on another turnover by Viewmont. The penalty, by the way, was on Lone Peak for unsportsmanlike conduct, so it'll back the kickoff to the 25-yard line.
Lone Peak has been fortunate. They've had, I believe this is their 2nd unsportsmanlike conduct play of the game, and they've had quite a few false starts, quite a few offsides. They're not running clean with penalties tonight, and that's fine when you're up as many points as they are with the Grizzlies, but if you don't get that cleaned up, that is not going to work the rest of the playoffs playing that sloppy, especially when you combine the penalties with the turnovers. You cannot afford to run that the rest of these playoffs.
Ian Sanchez to kick off from the 25. So this means there will be an opportunity for Zach Nope to return the kickoff. 2 minutes and 3 left to go here in the third quarter. Sanchez hits a line drive. Nope takes it at the 16. Nope gets to a seam, and he gets out to about the 43-yard line. So good starting field position for the Copper Hills Grizzlies as we're under 2 minutes to go. Another game we want to bring you up to date on. Late in the third quarter, Snow Canyon leads Green Canyon 20-14. And we're going to make sure we get you an update on Weber and Roy, which was tied at 14 the last time we heard from the PA announcer here at LP Field.
That's got to be a little confusing. Sometimes you have players who have the same last name, and that throws you off. Imagine having two
high schools with Canyon in the name.
Basically the same name. That's got to be so confusing. Prayers up to whoever's calling that game.
That's the local television, or rather the local KSL, I guess you could say the local interns down there calling that one. As we have another flag down, and we have a delay of game coming up against Copper Hills. Don't worry, folks. Alexander Timolip and Brett Hammer, the voices you're hearing here at LP Fields at Lone Peak High, the home of the defending champs. We are keeping our eyes peeled on this game. It's just that we're trying to also keep everybody updated on other games across the state, because there may be people who might be interested in other close games that are not exactly what we're seeing right now. Grizzlies have 1st and 15 with under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter from the 37. And another flag and another false start.
So, Alex, while we're sitting here talking about other games around the state, let me ask you this.
Okay.
I've been to a couple Lehigh games this year.
Yes.
My girlfriend's brother plays for Lehigh.
Right.
Who wants to play Lehigh?
That's the question. That's the question. Who wants to play Lehigh? Who wants to play Timpview right now? I mean, those look like the two frontrunners in 5A right now. But you have to watch out. Dark horse incoming Stansbury, who put up 71 on Timpanogos last Wednesday. You know, this despite the fact Timpanogos put up 43 points on them. That team looks like a team that could run all the way to Rice-Eccles Stadium and beyond as Perkins gets hit as he throws into coverage and just heave it out of bounds to the sideline. It appears that some of the subs are in here for Lone Peak, given the scorelines where it is. But honestly, right now, I think with Lehigh, you have Jackson Broso at quarterback, who's going to Colorado State next year, be a part of Jay Norvell's air pistol offense with Matt Mummy. There's not really a team other than Timpview or Stansbury that might have a chance of challenging the Pioneers right now.
No, the Pioneers do everything well. The quarterback's big, strong, great arm, athletic. The linebackers, the DBs, everybody fills, everybody tackles. As we see the Copper Hills Grizzlies run a screen that, again, probably should have. This is what we should have been seeing
earlier on.
Half, beginning the first half.
Yes.
Let the quarterback get warmed up, make these throws easy, make the plays easy for him. This is what we needed earlier on, and this is the wrong time to be implementing it.
They'll bring a third down and a mile here for Copper Hills. They've only converted 1 third down all night long. They are 1 for 14 on third downs tonight.
That's what happens when every single one of your third downs, it's not only like 3rd and long, 3rd and 5. It's been like 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20.
Average of about maybe 12 yards on third down as that pass over the middle is incomplete. Kitchen's feet got tangled up. No flag. Meanwhile, one of the offensive linemen ends up on his backside behind the play.
So that's the same play that Pono Akin got called for holding when we were down here at the 15, 20-yard line. That's the exact same play that they ran. And once again, Nate Kitchen doesn't get his head turned around, and Hiram Perkins doesn't have enough time to get that football out because Nate Kitchen is fast enough to beat Pono Akin over the top. And if Hiram Perkins has 2 seconds more to throw the ball, or if Nate Kitchen can look around and locate the football, that could be a huge gain and pick up the first on that 3rd and 17.
And there was nobody back, too, for the Lone Peak defense as Summons with the punt. Nabahine takes it out the 25. He's at the 30. Penalty flag goes down. Another penalty flag goes down. He's at midfield. He's at the 45. Needs to get past the kicker. He's finally hog-tied down from behind. The ball comes out after he's down. And in fact, there's not one, not two, but 3 pieces of laundry at the 40-yard line, all indicating the same infraction against the black-shirted Knights. I mean, I tell you what, Hammer, the Lone Peak's going to win this game running away, but they're going to get away with a -2 turnover margin, and they have committed, I think by our count now, 10 penalties in this game. I mean, if you want to go up against teams like Skyridge and Corner Canyon, even next week's game against Syracuse, not to look too far ahead, you can't do stuff like this.
No, here's the thing. We know it won't cut. This will not cut it against Skyridge. You cannot pull this with Skyridge. Frankly, you shouldn't be able to pull this even with a Copper Hills team that was 2-8 on the season. This shouldn't work against anybody, but certainly, like you just said, this is not going to work against Syracuse and won't work probably against another game that they play this season.
So we're going to figure out the penalties here. There's a block in the back. That one is declined, and then there was another one of the same infraction at the same spot. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 30 following enforcement. Actually, I checked that, Hammer. There's not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. There's 5 flags on the field. Like everybody threw the lingerie on that one.
Hey, all the rest is just trying to get involved. They're all trying to have a little fun.
I'll back it up all the way to the 20 here, following the enforcement of the penalty. 43 seconds left here, and 1 more quarter to go.
When was the last time you saw all 5 flags on the field at the same time?
That's very rare. I have never seen that. Hodson looking, throws the inside screen. That's complete to McChesney. He's got a block. He's at the 30. He's at the 40. Drew McChesney is away, running. There's a phone ringing, and Drew McChesney is going to answer it. Touchdown!
Touchdown, Lone Peak Knights. Our quarterback right now is Jackson Blake to Drew McChesney.
Jackson Blake is replaced Caden Hodson at quarterback. Hodson's night is done. And what does Jackson Blake do? He comes right off the bench and throws a 78-yard touchdown to Crew McChesney.
Every single one of these DBs is going to be waking up in the middle of the night because they're going to be having nightmares of Crew McChesney every hour of the night. They're just getting him in space. It's not that hard. They're letting this pass rush get through because they're trying to throw Caden Hodson off. And when you do, you leave this one-on-one with DBs between the offensive linemen and themselves. And then Crew McChesney goes one-on-one with the DB on the outside, and he's that fast that he can take it all the way to the house.
Crew McChesney into the end zone from 80 yards out. And with 15 seconds officially left here in the third quarter, it's 39-0. In favor of Lone Peak. We remind you now that we have reached the mercy rule. The clock will only stop for scoring plays and for penalties. As the Knights, it looked shaky at the start, Hammer, but it looks like they're going to get out of here with a pretty comfortable win.
Look, I know it's Halloween. It's Halloween season. It's spooky season. I don't know if you're into, horror movies and all that, but...
Don't even ask me.
If you're a
Don't even ask me.
You don't even need to go watch a spooky movie. You can just watch Crew McChesney highlights, and you'll be scared. You'll have nightmares the entire night.
Yeah, and on a side note, Kalani Satake better hope that Crew McChesney stays with BYU as his commitment. He hasn't committed yet, but he's committed to playing baseball for the Cougs coming up next season as that ball bounces on the 1. Nope takes it, and what will be the final play of the third quarter on the running clock. He gets buried at the 10, and that will do it for the third quarter. We are in mercy rule time, running clock in the playoffs. Copper Hills and Lone Peak heads to the fourth with the defending champs leading 39-0. Back after this word from UCCU on KSLSports.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
They said I have to take tests when they tell me to.
They said my degree would cost a fortune.
But I didn't have to listen to them.
Because I have a university that listens to me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the University of You.
Everybody's having fun here on a Friday night here at LP High School with the defending champion Lone Peak Knights leading 39-0 to start the fourth quarter. Alexander Timolet, Brett Hammer for KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs presented by Mountain America Credit Union. And this is Lone Peak football presented by Skin Science Institute on KSL Sports Rewind. And as a side note, we just like to remind you that Copper Hills and Lone Peak will be two of the feature schools we have for KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of basketball coming up starting November 29th. Again, the running clock initiated because of the mercy rule, and now it is 1st and 10 for the Grizz at the 10. Kitchen takes the direct snap, goes to the right side this time. He gets about 5. So unless there is some kind of a second coming inducing comeback here, Lone Peak will advance to the second round where they will play Syracuse next week on Friday. Again, the BYU kids, that's us, me and Hammer, Alexander Timolet and Brett Hammer, will be off next Friday to allow everyone to work the ECU BYU football game. Except I'll be there as a spectator.
I will not be.
Not sure if I'm comfortable with being a spectator after the stuff I've seen the last 5 weeks. To be honest. I don't know, Hammer. I mean, you're going to be working the game tomorrow as part of BYU TV's production crew. How comfortable are you with watching tomorrow's BYU Liberty football game after the circus we've seen the last few weeks?
Look, I am a BYU fan. I love BYU, but there's not a single person who's watching BYU who can tell me that they're comfortable and they feel perfectly fine going into Liberty. The games I feel like BYU struggles with on the season is the ones that you say BYU should definitely win that one.
Right.
Those are the ones that worry me. The Baylors of the world, the USFs where it's like, okay, it could be close. Those ones where we could go either way, but it's the games with ECU and Liberty where I'm like, yeah, we definitely should win that, where I say, you know what? I've been a BYU fan for 23 years. I've seen this movie before. I'm pretty sure I know how it ends, and I hope that I'm wrong.
You've been a one 23 years or 1 year longer than I have as a University of Hawaii football fan, but anyway, that's beside the point. Kitchen was stopped on third down, and it'll be 4th and a yard. Obviously, given the score is where it is, they'll go for it. Or will they? No, they won't. Not just yet. Grizzlies will take a timeout with 9 minutes and 48 seconds left, and we'll do the same with them as well. We'll be back after this word from Stonehaven Dental with the Lone Peak Knights leading 39-0 on KSLSports.com.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs continues. This is Copper Hills against Lone Peak. Lone Peak football on KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Skin Science Institute. We promised we'd have an update for you on the Weber-Roy score. It is 24-14 Weber in the fourth quarter. 4th down and less than a yard now for the Grizzlies. 4th down, and I call it a fingernail. Kitchen takes the direct snap, goes into the stack. I don't think he got it. And he did not get it.
Yeah, Lone Peak definitely has the Grizzlies singing goodness gracious, great balls of fire, because they're in shock right now. They have no idea what's going on. And it's one thing to say you're going to go, it's one thing to look into the future and to tell the Grizzlies you're going to go down 39-0 to the defending state champs. It's a whole other ball game when you include into that context that they turned the ball over 3 times in the first half and they gave up 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. They also had a play where they had 5 flags on the field. This Copper Hills team has got to be in shock right now with all the ways that this game has gone their way, and they still have been unable to put points on the board.
An anomaly, really, is Jackson Blake's in the game at quarterback. Here's the handoff. This is McChesney going on the right side this time. He gets about maybe, call it 9. That's actually Makai Smith, the ball carrier. Correction? Bring up 2nd down and call it maybe 2. Lone Peak has not scored over 40 points at all this season. They've only scored over 30 once. That was against Skyridge back on September 30th. Kind of gives you an indication of just how good they can be on nights like this. Blake hands off, getting around the edge, inside the 5, and into the end zone for the touchdown. But there's a flag down at the 5-yard line, and I suspect it's coming back. That's Jethro Johnson who got into the end zone, but there's a flag at the 5-yard line, and I have a feeling it's coming back.
Look, Jethro Johnson said, I ain't worried about it right now. He ran into everybody. He had two guys in the backfield. He said, no, you're not touching me. He had an outside linebacker on the outside, said, no, you're not touching me, and then ran right through the DB and just tiptoed his way into the end zone.
So the clock stops for the penalty, and it'll restart again. So make it 2nd and 5 from the 14. What was once 2nd and 2 is 2nd and 5. 3-yard difference, give or take. Makai Smith in the shotgun now with Jackson Blake. Blake looking, screen, that's complete to Smith. And Smith rumbling down inside the 10, gets to the 5. Clock will stop momentarily while they set the chains, and then they'll reset it and go. Another first down, theme of the night.
Makai Smith is what we like to call a rumbler. That boy just gets the ball, and then he just munches right through the linebackers because all he sees is the end zone. He's ready to munch a W.
Jensen now lines up in the backfield in the pistol with Jackson Blake. Blake, hand off to Jensen. Nope, he keeps it and walks in. Well, we talked about how maybe it was going to come down to the air game tonight for LPHS. Instead, it's the ground game that's been their bugaboo defensively all season long that has ended up getting them to this point.
Well, it's awesome to see because, like we mentioned, they've loved to go to Krubik Chesney and Cole Christensen just to turn on the Jets and score. But what they've done tonight is they said, look, even if you want to sell out to stop the pass, like they have bracketing Cole Christensen, they've had the quarterback run going. They've ran the ball to Jethro Johnson, and as well as now their backup quarterback, and Caden Hodson also has 2 touchdowns. So they're just getting everyone involved, trying to get everybody eaten tonight in the end zone.
Have I kept saying Jethro Jensen? If I have, I'm sorry. It's actually Jethro Johnson who's in the backfield now with Jackson Blake, and it makes it now 46-0 with 7:33 left to go. Meanwhile, as we're watching here, Box Elder taking on Highland. Highland was driving on 4th and 26 from inside midfield. The Box Elder Bees come up with a late pick, and the Bees are going to move on to the second round of the playoffs, where they will face off against the number 8 seed in 5A. A big win there for the Box Elder Bees. Meanwhile, Delta and Millard are going down to the wire. 37 seconds left in the game. 28-21 in favor of the Rabbits. Sanchez boots this one through the end zone, and this will be a touchback. And the clock will stop with 7:14 to go here in the game. And the defending champions up by a good tractor trailer here at this point.
So they're up 46-0 right now. It's fairly obvious the Lone Peak's going to run away with this. But to you, Lone Peak's the defending state champions, right?
Right.
Who's challenging Lone Peak for that state title?
This is the funny thing, Hammer. We talked about it, the bits and bytes coming in. The last year of UHSAA boys sports, only Lone Peak and Riverton were the only top 5 or top 10 seeds in the entire boys division of 6A sports to win a state title. I mean, it was a 10 seed in American Fork that won the title in boys basketball, as the Grizzlies will take a timeout because they didn't have enough players on the field. And, of course, everybody remembers my infamous call of the Harriman game winner back on May 25th. The 18-seed soccer championship going to the Mustangs. But really, at this point, it really is a horse race between the Region 4 teams. But you'd have to think Corner Canyon's the front runner for the championship, at least at this point in the season.
Yeah, Isaac Wilson, when you have a great quarterback, you can get away with doing a lot of other things wrong. And Isaac Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the entire region. And like you said, you got to think that Corner Canyon is the favorite to run away with that, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Corner Canyon, they get past the 16 or 17 seed they play next week. They'll have to face off against West Jordan in the quarterfinals. Of note, who gave Bingham all they could handle in Region 3 along with Riverton. So not exactly a cakewalk for Corner Canyon to get to Rice-Eccles Stadium. On first down, Perkins throws up the sideline. Flag comes down, and what a grab as Solaris made the catch on the sideline, and there's going to be 15 additional tacked on to the end of the play for a roughing the passer as Perkins got drilled as he let go of that pigskin.
So Damon Soroy deserves all the credit and then some, like all the credit and a bag of chips, because what people don't understand is the over-the-shoulder catch is the hardest catch in football, because you don't see the ball until it is in your hands, and you have about 0.2 seconds to react and to tighten your fingers. That is an incredible, incredible catch by Damon Soroy, and he deserves all the credit in the world, because people don't get, when you put that helmet on, your peripheral vision, your field of vision, it drops by about 50%. So incredible, incredible catch. And again, I wish this is what would have been happening the entire game, because Copper Hills is capable of making these plays. They just haven't been able to connect until late in this game.
Perkins again on 1st and 10, fires complete to Kitchen, and Kitchen gets cut down at the 41-yard line. Again, LP has most of the backups now in here for them. Want to remind you, coming up at the end of this game, Hammer and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann & Associates Player of the Game. Remember, Heidemann & Associates is the full-service law firm that is committed to winning for their clients, the official law firm sponsor of KSL Sports Rewind. Mind you also, this is the final Lone Peak home game they will have for the season, as that pass is nearly intercepted right through the hands of Zach Nope.
So Lone Peak has gotten away with not having an exceptional secondary tonight. The secondary hasn't had a lot of situational awareness. There have been a ton of tip passes that the Knights have just not been able to capitalize and come away with. And they're not going to, again, we've talked about mistakes that the Knights have made that are just not going to cut it as they move deeper into these playoffs.
3rd down and 3 now. Approaching 5 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Again, we'd like to thank Lone Peak High School for their hospitality all season long. This will be the last home game we cover for them this year as the pass is caught. A 1st down completion. 1st down there for the Copper Hills Grizzlies.
Again, it's not that the Grizzlies weren't capable of throwing the football downfield. They just didn't feel comfortable with it, and they forced it too much when they were in tough spots, and it didn't work out for them. It would have been better for them to warm up with that earlier.
Solaris, the target on the left side. That pass is broken up, incomplete. Damon Soroy, the intended receiver again.
Look, Damon Soroy is getting open. He's a great route runner, and he does a really good job at adjusting to the football. You're going to see over here, he was running a back shoulder fade, did a great job adjusting to it, couldn't come down with it. But again, if you could have gotten him and the quarterback warmed up earlier on in this game, you might have had a chance to take down the defending state champs.
Approaching 4.5 here in the 4th quarter. This is the deepest by far Copper Hills has advanced into Lone Peak territories. That pass is broken up again, incomplete. Again intended for Zach Nope, and it will again be 3rd down and a long 10.
So it's interesting. First half, the Grizzlies go basically everybody inside the tackle box except for maybe one receiver outside, direct snap, wildcat. Didn't really put the quarterback in till like halfway through the 2nd half, and that was the same formation essentially the entire 1st half, and since then it's been basically all 5 wide. And what's unfortunate is if they would have mixed that up early on in the game, they probably would have had a chance to take down these Knights.
3rd down and 10. Perkins steps up, and he's going to pick up about maybe 4 as he gets blasted, and then another flag comes in flying from the back. Tegan Towell is the one who brought him down, and will have to wait on the penalty. I wonder what this could be because it didn't look like there was a foul, a personal foul. This could, in fact, be coming back for an ineligible man downfield. Oh, it is going to be targeting. Wow. Well, that was a rather unfortunate turn of events. So now this is by far Copper Hills' deepest advance into LP territory tonight. It's 1st and 10 at the 13. Copper Hills at the very least trying to break the donut. Kitchen, nowhere to go. That's stacked up by a whole host of black shirts. Cameron Clough, the one who knocked him down. Mountain Ridge and Westlake, by the way, we want to bring you up to date. The Ridge leading that one 28-23, but Westlake threatening. And in fact, as I say that, they just got in the end zone with under 3 minutes to go in our game as the throw of the middle is caught. Nope. Inside the 1. I swear, that's so wrong to say that.
No, when you say nope, I'm like fluctuating between deciding whether you're calling the end of the play,
right,
or if you're saying his name. Like, it's a little confusing.
Yes.
Like, imagine if a kid's last name was Yup.
Yes. As Perkins powers his way into the end zone, and the Grizzlies do break the donut with 2.5 minutes to go here in the game. I'm going to have nightmares about that tonight in my sleep. As the extra point is up and good from Summons. And that makes it 46-7 in favor of the defending champs, Lone Peak. Well, while we have a minute here, we want to... Well, while we have a minute here, Hammer, of course, everybody knows around... at least around our circle at BYU, that my family has gone through a lot this week. We want to send a special shout-out to my family watching back home in Honolulu tonight. We are all mourning the loss of a beloved matriarch, grandmother, and friend of ours. My grandmother, Lavina Ferreira, passed away on Tuesday morning at the age of 93. It has been a very difficult week, to say the least, Hammer, for me and my family, but I think we can attest this is something good for my family to take their minds off of what's happened this weekend. We like to send, on behalf of the KSL Sports Ohana, the family here, the deepest love and condolences from us to them. Jacob Summons will kick off. No thought of an onside kick here for Copper Hills, being the score is where it is. Summons is just going to pooch kick it, and that's going to go out of bounds. Ball will be placed at the 35, and that will do it, more or less. Again, I'd like to thank Lone Peak High School for their hospitality all season long here at their stadium. We look forward to returning to the field house for Lone Peak basketball. Again, doubleheaders begin coming next month on KSLSports.com. The defending girls basketball state champion Lone Peak Knights, under the direction of Coach Nancy Warner, look to defend their championship. And of course, the boys basketball looking for a redemption year under head coach Robert Ross. Can't wait to bring all the action to you when that starts up at the end of the month of November, close to Thanksgiving. Handoff goes to Brooks Wild, and Wild to the left side. Wild up the sideline. He might go. He's out of bounds at the 34. That's Boston Hill. Check that, excuse me. Ethan Hadley's the one who tore him out of bounds. Not before he had a first down inside the 30. And that will more or less do it. And the Lone Peak Knights are not going to think about running another play here. They're just going to take a knee and run out the rest of this clock. Lake will take a knee, and the defending champs will open defense of their title with a convincing victory. Not the prettiest, but the most convincing, I think, the way they played tonight. A very convincing victory in the end.
It's interesting because the box score does not at all tell the story of this game. When you go and you look at all of the penalties and all of the turnovers in that first half, Lone Peak should have struggled a lot more than they did tonight.
Again, I'd like to thank Lone Peak for their hospitality all football season. We want to wish these Knights the best of luck next week against Syracuse, as that will complete it. The home season is complete for the Lone Peak Knights. Their defending champs will finish this season on the road for the rest of the playoffs, and hopefully Bart Brockbank's team is hoping it will end at Rice-Eccles Stadium with a second consecutive state championship. 46-7, your final score. The Lone Peak Knights defeat the Copper Hills Grizzlies. We'll be back after this word from Western Governors University to wrap it up and to select our Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game.
Other universities didn't fit into my life.
They said I'd have to quit my job to go to school.
They said it would take me 4 years to graduate. They said I have to take tests when they tell me to.
They said my degree would cost a fortune.
But I didn't have to listen to them.
Because I have a university that listens to me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the University of You.
Lone Peak victorious here in their final home game of the season. A 46-7 win in the first round of the 2022 UHSAA football playoffs presented by Mountain America Credit Union. This is Lone Peak Football presented by Skin Science Institute. Alexander Timmel alongside Brett Hammer one last time here tonight. So Hammer, give me your final thoughts here tonight. It wasn't the prettiest performance Lone Peak had, but they still found a way to get it done.
No, I thought Lone Peak's downfall tonight was going to be Caden Hodson making plays that weren't going to work in his favor, and he did a really great job tonight. Applaud Caden Hodson. He's struggled this season with trying to make plays that were too big for the situation, and he did a great job tonight, handing the football off, throwing those dump-off screen plays, putting a great deep ball tonight from Caden Hodson to both Crew McChesney and Cole Christensen. So if Caden Hodson can play smart football like this for the rest of the playoffs, the Knights are going to be unstoppable as long as they get those penalties and those turnovers calmed down.
So we look ahead. Lone Peak moves on to play the Syracuse Titans next week on Friday as the familiar strain of Sweet Caroline blares here for the last time tonight at Lone Peak Field. Hammer, it's time to select our Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game, the full-service law firm committed to winning for their clients. Well, this is a really tough one, but I don't know. Who do you think should be our Heidemann Associates? I'm gonna give you the nod tonight to select ours.
It's so hard when the entire team plays the way that they need to, but I'm going to cop out here, and I'm going to give the Heidemann Associates key to the game to this Lone Peak defense because, like we said, the offense turned the ball over 3 different times in the first half, and the defense was able to pitch a shutout until garbage time. And if they can play like that, they're going to keep this Lone Peak defense in a lot of games when maybe like we said, maybe they shouldn't be in it because of the turnovers and the penalties, but this defense did a great job of blitzing the gaps, setting the edge, and making sure that this football could not be ran the way that the Grizzlies wanted to.
And hopefully they can continue that because they have had real trouble stopping the run this season. And Hammer, I want to just say here on behalf of my family back home, thank you for Thank you for doing the game with me. If there was one thing we were not going to miss this week, it was me doing the game. And I think we brought a lot of joy to my family tonight just by doing this game here tonight. And it was a pleasure doing it with you, buddy. And you know I love you.
It's been a pleasure.
So like we said, we'll be off next week, and we'll be back for a potential quarterfinal matchup. But until then, we wish the Lone Peak Knights the best of luck as they travel to play the Syracuse Titans. For our cameraman, Doug Jardine, and for Dusty Litzner and Vince Francis back in Salt Lake, my name is Alexander Timolev. For my broadcast partner, Brett Hammer, this has been a presentation of KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs. Your home for the 2022 UHSAA 6A Football State Championship game. Again, your final score, Lone Peak 46, Copper Hills 7. Malama pono ke kahi. Until we meet again, everyone, aloha from Utah, and good night. Remember that you will be found.